Hello, hello, Rise and Thrivers. Welcome to Monday, October 21st. It is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are here ready for we're coming right to the last two Mondays of October, and super excited to have continued the conversation on pruning with my favorite co-host, dear friend, Dr. Raquel Stewart. So before we go anywhere, of course, we're going to talk about Rise and Thrive together. And who are we, right? We are an amazing, amazing community out. We're vibrant and we are out to empower and educate and equip you to have the results that you want through real talk and real action. And that's what we're going to do tonight. So, welcome, Raquel. Here we are on the third, I think it's the third Monday already of October. Time is just flying by for me. I don't know about you.
I know. It's absolutely insane but the good thing is Sunday's my birthday, so yay.
Yay!
Very
We get
excited.
to celebrate next week.
I
See
am
how,
very excited.
and then we'll see how rising and thriving you are the day after on our show.
Oh no, I'll be great. Not doing anything. I traveled the last 2 years each year for my birthday. This year I kind of want to keep it a little low key and take in some of this fall foliage that we have. That's absolutely beautiful to see.
Mm.
And no, quiet this year. Quiet. That's what I need right now in my life.
Well, I think it goes perfect, right? Because it goes perfect into the quiet and into this conversation that we are continuing with on pruning. And I don't know about you, but this has been a pretty interesting, energetic week since last Monday to this Monday. Um, and lots of things happening. And exactly what you said perfectly was what I would like to say, weaving in and out, weaving in and out.
Um,
And I would love to say flowing. I would love to say flowing, right? When things just flow. But I'm like weaving in and out of this energy, but pruning, which is great. Sometimes it's a really sharp clip, and other times it's allowing it to just to drop naturally. So how about you? I mean, how's this, I love the fact that you said foliage. Please make sure that next week when you come on, share some of those pictures with us. Different here in Florida, but I miss that. But how's that for you? What is like, happening with you and your life and in what we've been up to for this 2024 year about pruning?
wow, I've pruned off so much. I feel barren. I
Wow.
feel like the tree when all the leaves have fallen off and the tree is just there barren. But we know that's not true. The tree doesn't die, it still has life. There's just so much that I am involved with.
Mm,
And what it's all teaching me is not overwhelmed, but it's teaching me time management. So behind the scenes, Reg and I were talking about a possible project that we are going to take on, and we'll decide when, um, relatively soon. However, it was for me. Normally, it would be, "Yay, let's do it!" And now I'm not in that season of jumping and yeah, let's do it. It's like I need to hear more because I know what my schedule is like right now, and see whether I can fit it in or if it's something that I just can't fit in anywhere. I'm no longer in that space of being overwhelmed. I've moved, so one major thing off my plate, and I pruned away the old. I'm not really pining after where I used to live like I thought I would be, which I find very interesting. I thought I'd be having this longing, and I actually don't have the longing. I thought I'd get off at the wrong exit where I used to live, and I have not done that. It's just this season of pruning for me is pruning away distractions
mm,
and what has taken my time. And I don't really have time for the distraction that used to take away my time. My time now has to be very precise as it can be. Of course, things pop up, but then it's like, okay, how am I going to compartmentalize this thing that popped up? So that's where the pruning is for me. It is about pruning, yes, but pruning away my distractions. So
I
that's
love that.
yeah.
I do. What really resonated with me when you just, spoke was, that whole part of overwhelm, right? That
Mm,
whole part of when you were saying, like, hey, I'm pruning away where there's no longer overwhelm. So we were talking behind the scenes, and I was telling Raquel, like that, it's not flow, it's like that weaving in and out for me. So that might seem for some people super overwhelming. Um, I'm going to smile about this. It's been like an energetic week, and I've made it an experience, the mindset of weaving in and out. I've made it like a dance, right? So I'm dancing my way through. Sometimes, if for those people who know Zumba or hip hop or whatever, it's that sharp move, right? It's that sharp move. And then sometimes it's that, slow move. That's how that's been for me, like kind of weaving in and out, and 100% with you, not overwhelm. And what I've in this season is really putting up those boundaries
mm.
that, like you said, we both have this project, right? And exactly like you, I shared, I'm excited. So I'm one of those people that are excited, but what I love working with you, and this is what I'm talking about, professional growth or the type of relationships you guys are in, listeners, is that I can like, and we're about this, and really look to say,
Red's dropped off, y'all. I'm sure she'll be back.
I got
um,
popped into the green room. They just went into the green room. See what I mean? A little sharp over to the green room. Um, so like I said, it's this beautiful, and really like you, we're looking at staying in our lane, looking at what we want to accomplish powerfully by the end of 2024, and what do we where that's going to flow into 2025,
mhm.
and will this project be in the beginning of 2025, middle of 2025, end of 25, whatever that may be. So I really appreciate that conversation. That's
So,
awesome.
what I'm interested in knowing from our listeners is, and we've asked this question the whole month of October because that's our topic, pruning away whatever it is you're pruning. Are you pruning so that you're creating space for growth? Are you pruning because there are people, places, and things that you know you need to cut out of your life in order for you to move forward? So, where are you pruning? And I'll tell you something. Time management, I don't know if we were really friends. I don't know if we had that kind of close-knit relationship, but I'll tell you something, I absolutely do now. I feel like I don't wanna say every moment of my day is accounted for, but it sort of is. Here's the one place I am not going to relinquish, and you guys know I've been on this health journey because it is a journey since last August. Nothing impacts me getting up early in the morning because, as I said, people complain and they talk about, I don't have enough time in a day to do X, Y, and Z. And you have 24 hours. What are you doing with those 24 hours? For me, in order to fit in something for me, I have to get up early. So I get up early, I go do my kickboxing, strength training. I'm still doing my art classes. Getting better, not getting better, that is not up for discussion. It's not about that. It is about the fact that I still go and I'm still making time, even though my time during the daytime hours, it's kind of like it's tight, right? And even in the evening, the other day, sis, I went to bed, it was almost 2 in the morning. And then I still
Wow.
was able to get up and go to, I think it was kickboxing or strength training. One of them I had to do, but I understand the season I'm in of pruning away my distractions so that I can stay focused. Because the season I'm in now, it's like there's a lot good happening, but it's just, it takes time. It takes a lot of my time, you know? So I'm grateful for it because this pruning of distractions in order to increase my time management or get better with my time management is preparing me for my next level of life.
Mm.
And I fully get that. I'm totally present to it and I'm accepting of it and just learning how to do this time management thing and make it work.
Ooh, so I got something, this is like, guys, we're getting real. This is like Raquel and I on the phone right now. So please, I'm throwing it in there saying, hey, drop your comments if you're watching us on any of our channels right now. If it's the Rise and Thrive Facebook channel, if it's on the YouTube channel, if it's on Raquel's personal Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, LinkedIn, throw in like what is there for you. You have some questions, throw it out there. If you've got a like, aha, yeah, we definitely want to know what are you pruning? And if you need some more insight on it, I'm going to kind of take it to another level. Um, I have a, for myself, when you say pruning, right? Pruning for growth and time management, I love it. One of the things that I have been struggling with, like you said, you and time manager aren't friends. Me and I'm going to say I'll stick with time management around relationships. And I'm not
Mm,
talking Josh and me or Lexi, right? Relationships that are really important to me, especially when somebody is going through a really difficult time, right? Like, we're not talking, especially even when it's in crisis mode. No
mm,
matter what, guys, right? Raquel and I have been through many crises. We've had our own personal crises. She lost her father last year. That's a big deal, right? And that was unexpected. When all of that comes in, time management is still really important, right? Time management. And I've noticed for myself that I allow those like relationships, those my relationships in crisis and being the helper and wanting to help everyone and support everyone has definitely something as of just last Friday, like I'm going to say Friday because we're only at Monday, that I'm pruning away. And for me, sis, you know me well. That's a tough one, especially when you care about someone
mhm,
so much or some situation like so much, because there's that battle back and forth. We do mindset here, guys, right? We talk about mindset. That mindset of like, this is someone who I love. This is someone who's what I use chosen family. And now the situation is getting to the point where I needed to prune back, prune the conversations, prune the amount of time on that. And is it really moving that person forward? Is it moving me forward?
mm.
Or is it sort of like that hamster wheel? So I just wanted to share that without going into details, guys. But I know Raquel gets my language. And I'm just wondering, sis, what you thought, what you heard, you know, and anybody else out there, if you're like, in that sort of situation, raise your hand, say, hey, jump on.
I like the analogy of the hamster wheel. It really does hit home and it really and truly gives you a visual of what it does. All the hamster, you just go around and around and around. You're always on loop or repeat, whichever language, whichever word you're choosing. I used to be on a hamster wheel and I realized I don't like it.
Mm,
And so the fact that I didn't like it is not enough, right?
right.
I've got to do something about it. I don't, there are a lot of things that people, some of you may or may not like. If you don't like it, it's not enough to just sit and gripe about it and complain. The question is always, well, what are you going to do? Which means when you hear the word do, it means what action are you going to take? And talking about it isn't going to change a situation. It's about the action. Unless you're talking to someone you consider like an accountability partner, and they're the ones that are there to support you and hold you accountable for what you say you're going to do. So if you say, I need to get off this hamster wheel, then what are your next steps? right? Because the hamster wheel can be fun, I guess, in the beginning. And then after a while, all you do is realize I'm not going anywhere. It's kind of like a treadmill. No offense to those of you that like the treadmill. For me, the treadmill, I don't use it only because I feel like I'm just not going anywhere. I'm walking, but getting nowhere. So I don't use it because I think a little too deeply about it, I guess. But I want to know about this hamster wheel and what are you doing? What action are you taking? Listen, 2024 came in and it's going out so quickly. It's almost insane when I stop to think about 2025 in like 2 months. Hey, we've got a little visitor here, a surprise guest, my little cat. Um,
Yeah.
and where are you? And what is it that you really and truly do need to prune before you take it into 2025? Why are we still
I
taking old baggage with us?
I love it. You just like opened up something so much for me. And this is, guys, this is like real talk, right? Here we are, because this is what we do when we're off camera and what we're doing on camera. The first thing that you said to me was like, do you like the hamster wheel, right? So number one is using the analogy of the treadmill. If you like the treadmill, rock on, right? Because that works for you. But when I said hamster wheel, you know me well enough to know I don't like the hamster wheel. So it's like, okay, Regina, what are you going to do? What actions are you going to take? And so from that Friday till right before we got on was that taking a moment and saying, I need to prune the conversations, because the bottom line is this is right. It's super cute. Like when you have your hamster, right? And they're on the wheel and you're like, look at
I guess she popped into the green room again. So she's talking about being on a hamster wheel
me.
and you're watching the hamster.
I am. I'm this hamster like, popping in and out. Yeah, there's something up with my computer. I need to like restart it. But yes, so I really appreciate that, sis, because that's exactly what it was. Number one, take a moment. Is this conversation, is the thing that you're doing, whatever it is, how do you feel about it? Do you enjoy it? Rock on, don't move. If you don't, now we've got to like take, like she said, an action about it. And so I declared, now it doesn't always feel good, guys, especially when it's somebody you love. It doesn't always feel good. But that we're not talking about feelings. Raquel talks about this all the time, right? Feelings are super important, but we tend to be, as human beings, taking actions around feelings and feelings, and they come from reactions, and then it becomes even more. So taking a deep breath and then truly creating my boundaries, having my conversations, and choosing myself first, guys, because that's what I do. I chose myself first, my family first. And so I had the conversation with myself, conversation with my husband, conversation with my daughter, now sharing it all with you guys, which is this is doesn't feel good and it's not moving me forward, that other person forward. So the conversations are official to say I was like no longer going to have a conversation about this, and took myself out of it by the point of please stop calling me
Hmm.
and about this particular situation. Right? We could talk about whatever, but this particular situation, I'm removing myself from, and it's not like I don't care, right? Don't. It's just not my. It's not. It's not mine.
Hmm.
Sometimes people need to handle what they need to handle. And that, guys, is where I talk about boundaries, and those are my areas I'm still growing on, because I'm reading this amazing book called Toxic Helper.
Hmm.
So you can feel free to, like, if you want to know about it, or I'll drop it in later. But yeah, man, that's me. I just was like, wow, I thought I got rid of it. I am not going into 2025. Mm-mm.
Good for you.
So there's my real talk tonight, peeps.
You know what hit me or resonated with me as you were speaking is when we were talking about pruning and taking action and it not feeling good.
Yeah.
The reality is it's not feeling good for that in that moment.
Yeah.
Right? It's the pruning is never good. Can we ask a plant whether or not the pruning hurts them? It hurts the plant. But at the end of the day, for my gardeners, you know you're doing such a great benefit, and you see the fruits of that later when the new leaves spring out or the new flower or whatever it is. For me, when I have to prune my little tomato plant, I feel good when I see it sprouting and then I see flowers coming out, and I know tomatoes are close at hand. Mind you, I cannot stand tomatoes. I grow them not for me, but for other people to enjoy. I'm not a tomato fan. That besides the point. In that moment, it doesn't feel good when we have to prune, especially when it comes to pruning people out of our lives. But what we need to focus our attention on instead of it not feeling good is what good is going to come out of it,
Mm.
right? It's where you shift your focus. Are you going to focus on what you're losing, or are you going to focus on what it is that you are going to gain from pruning? If I focus on, oh my gosh, I'm cutting off all these leaves, my plant looks like I don't know how to take care of it, or am I going to focus on, wow, how much tomatoes are people going to be able to eat because of it? Loss and change is never easy, but they both happen, they're both necessary, and they both help us to grow. It's just where do we see ourselves? How do we shift that focus from the loss to what it is we're going to gain? And
Very
for me,
true.
pruning away distractions, I've gained a better grasp of time management. And that has helped me to not feel overwhelmed. I do a lot. Reg knows in my days, she's
Mm.
like, hey, when can we talk or let's meet? And I'm like, nope, this week I can't do it. I can only do it this time to this time. Before I would have been like, no, I'll fit it in wherever. And then I'm feeling overwhelmed, burdened, and I'm like just dragging all the time. And even though I physically am feeling kind of tired, guess what? I know that after this, I know what I have to do, and then I'll schedule a cutoff time. Sometimes I do, except for that day with the 2 in the morning. But I schedule my cutoff time, and I'm like, okay, I know I have kickboxing at 7:15 in the morning, so that means I have to go to bed at a reasonably decent hour so that I hit the bag instead of the bag hitting me tomorrow morning. Does
That's a
that
very
make sense
no.
about the pruning and not
It
feeling good and
is.
shifting your focus?
And I think that's the piece. And like, hey, I know people are watching, you know, why I wanted to bring it up this way, because I think you said it so beautifully and you are just hit home. It doesn't feel good. Our plants, I love that plant analogy because our plants can't tell us. But I have my daughter in my head right now because Josh was doing that this weekend. And Lexi was like, oh my God, Daddy, look what you're doing. Like, I wonder if they're hurting because, she's learning in school that plants feel and all that stuff. And he's like, yep, honey, but watch. Just watch. Oh my God, Riley. Hi, Riley. Riley's just jumping right in. But I love that. And so what I'm like, as you're in time management, I'm about patience
Hmm.
because you know me well. And many people out here know me well. So it's okay. I just did that, right? I'm going to sit with that. I'm going to breathe that in. I'm going to do, the stuff that I love to do is journaling that because that's important for me to allow that time. I don't know what this is going to turn out to be like, but what you said, sis, was perfect. It's going to help me grow. I just don't like the way it's feeling. And I'm clear that the other people don't like it as well. And that's the old baggage, right? That's the old stuff. But what I am 100% committed to is not bringing all of that, old stuff, old wiring, old things into 2025. And to be
Mhm.
honest, this is like not going to finish in this quarter. Like we're in
Mm.
October. So guys, we've been talking about Q4. Now, I'm not pushing it. Old me would be like, "Yay, let's go." Like you said, fit it in, rush it through. I'm not going to rush it through, but not but and we've done enough of this work. We have enough of accountability partners and our mentors to support us in the way that this will be that boundary. This will be that piece of Regina is going to grow deeper into patience and love and helping from a space that is not really going anywhere, like on a hamster wheel, like
Mm.
anywhere. I can see it everywhere. So I really appreciate this, so much, sis, for your guidance. This is what the show is about, right? This is about, that. So I'm smiling for the first time. To be honest, I feel like really lighter. I told her before I got on here, was like, but I feel lighter and I'm excited. Like, I'm excited. If I could be a plant talking, I'm talking on behalf of plants. I'm excited to see what's growing, what's going to grow.
Absolutely, absolutely. And how much, like you said, now you're smiling. It's because you've shifted the focus
Yeah.
on from the lost, what it is that I'm going to gain. And sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, what we gain is ourselves.
Yes.
Because at some point we have lost who we were, right? And if we shift to, well, who am I becoming? Notice I said were, past tense, to who am I becoming and getting excited about the person you're becoming. Because every time there is some crisis or a challenge that we face, it's not coming because we did something wrong. It's coming because it's time for us to make a pivot or a shift to another level. And that's just the mode of transportation that it's using to take us to that next level, right? Because we have to shed the old skin. And it's not because, oh my gosh, we're about to enter into a new year. It's not about that. It could have happened in the middle of the year, right? There are different times. This just happens to be the time. And we are always going through different seasons. There are times it may be winter outside in the elements for those of us that live in those areas where we have a winter, not like Floridians, who it goes to like 70 and everybody's panicked and breaking out a coat. Um, but it is about the season that you're in your own personal life. And we've got to recognize the season that we're in and the lesson that we're going to learn as a result of being in that season and coming through that season.
Mm.
It's time for us to start being more self aware and stop looking to blame. You want to prune something away? Prune away the blaming. Start accepting the responsibility. I know I used to squander my time, and I'm willing to share what I used to have distractions with is Candy Crush. I can sit there and get Candy Crush in. Yes, I'm old. Some of y'all are like, Candy Crush, that's an old game. Yeah, I like it. And so what? That was my distraction. And now I barely have time for it unless I'm, you know, in another room in the house. Yeah, we will let your imagination get on that one. But let's look at becoming more self-aware, recognizing the season we're in and getting the lesson out of it, right? That's all a part of this pruning and the growth that we experience. It's just understanding where we are and what is it that we need to get? What is it that we need to learn? Are we on our assignment, what we're supposed to be doing? And if we're not, maybe this, whatever is happening, this challenge, this crisis has come to focus us back. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. And we've had many guests on here that talk about their circumstances that could be, right? We've had people who've had cancer and that people have gone through horrific violence and see all of that as the blessings, guys, the blessings, and they get to speak about the lessons and where
Mm,
they are today now in their life and how they can move forward and impact other people, right? So that's like the biggest piece where I can, walk away with, which is like, hey, if something doesn't feel good, hamster wheel, whatever that is, overwhelm, all of that, there is, once we take that breath, calm ourselves down, that nervous system, and become responsible and say, hey, there is a lesson here. I am committed not to have those lessons smack me in the face, right? So, like those lessons, I am up to flowing for the rest of this year, not ducking and weaving, and getting in and out, like just flowing with that. Okay, not perfect, far from it. They're gonna happen. I have no control over that. What I do have control over is the actions I take around that. And so I really appreciate this conversation tonight. Quiet people, but that's okay. I'm looking forward. Both Raquel and I are looking forward to you guys, what you hear from this. And please, hashtag replay, hashtag, whatever you got this for yourselves, because we've got one more week, one more week about this amazing conversation. And it's going to be a
Absolutely.
big one.
And it doesn't end just because the conversation ends. This is life. This is what we're going to be doing throughout life. We meaning all of us. This
Yes.
is what we're going to be doing, just pruning and pruning. But now that the seed was planted about shifting the focus from what you've lost to what you will be gaining, practice that. And it takes practice. Trust me. I am not perfect. Reg is not perfect. There are times when I'm losing something. You heard me a couple episodes ago when I was talking about moving, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love my place and all of this stuff. And I'll be very honest, do I miss it? I can't say I do because I understand that that was a pit stop. It was not something that was permanent. And I understand.
Mm.
So now I'm okay. I'm able now to move forward to whatever God has next for me. That was a time. That was a moment in time. That's how we live life. A moment in at a time. That was a moment. That moment is past. I don't want to stay in that moment because then I'm blocking whatever God has next for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've got like right now, nothing is permanent except death. And I know there will be people out there that question that as well. And that's a fun conversation for me. So please bring that. But really, I mean, I do. I'm getting this whole like, oh, man, I make stuff so serious, right? Like it's so serious. It feels serious. And yes, there's some heavy stuff to that. But like you said, it's not permanent. It's a
Mm,
moment in time. And I'm like now like kind of reflecting back to be like, to be honest, this is about also responsibility and accountability, right? This is what we
mm.
talk about on the show. Raquel says, I use this with somebody this weekend about blaming out there. And then they'll point the finger out how many fingers are back. And it hit me. These conversations, guys, what we do is like she said, practice. It's practice for me. We say it out loud. And the more you talk about it, the more it seeps in. And so I allowed that, right? I allowed the hamster wheel to happen, right? I allowed that conversation. I picked up the phone. Here's the funniest part of it all. I was talking to my girlfriend this morning. We do have an accountability, call, and she had no idea what I was going through, and me neither. And we were, getting ready to talk, and I kind of shared very quickly, and I said, I got mad because I put up my boundaries. I said what I said, and then all of a sudden, like I don't know what's going on. And then I spoke to somebody else and I was like, blah, 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 like, getting all like attitude-ish. And the person said to me, you specifically told me not to talk to you about this. Guys, it's 72 hours later, right? It's 72 hours later. I put up the boundary, and that's how quick our mind goes. Boom, boom. Because Raquel said, it's practice. It's practice. So there's my practice, right? Ba, 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 ba. But what I love and why we call this Rise and Thrive Together, and why we have a private Facebook group, Rise and Thrive Together community, because my community, who I surround myself with, holds me accountable. I don't let mamby pamby, no offense if anybody's out there, like who knows me, but most of my people who are out there watching this show hold me accountable to what I say, to my word. So they were like, and it was like slap in the face. I was like, hmm, thank you, right? Like, and they were like, thank you. And I was like, thank you. It's just me having to do my own work. So
Right.
thank you for those people who are watching. They know who I'm talking about. Thank you for the practice. And again, I am now giving myself out there. So all you guys can hold me accountable to like, hey, Regina, where are you holding those boundaries? It's funny. And then she shared her story and she was like, oh man, I just got it. Because she just got mad at somebody. And she was just like, Oh, they were just holding me to my word of like, you asked me not to talk about that.
Right.
So, not perfect, brand new for me in a new way because
Hmm.
it's always moment by moment.
Absolutely.
So super fun. Oh my gosh. I don't know about all of you guys. I appreciate this. This was amazing tonight for me at least.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we love you and we want you to enjoy this life, knowing that challenges will come. If you call them problems, issues, whatever your phrase is or word, they will come. But guess what? If you're expecting it when it comes, it's like not totally a surprise. Notice I said not totally a surprise.
Yep.
You see it for what it is. It's a challenge, and challenges come to grow us, to change us. So if you can hold that in mind, and some challenges are very tough. I know this. I get it. But remember, we live life in a moment to moment. It's a moment. And I get some moments are very long. I
Mm,
mean, very long. Some moments will last for like months. But guess what? It won't last always. And I know that's cliche to say, but it is so true and
so
so
true.
appropriate. And we
Yep.
absolutely love you and we want you to live your best life. We so appreciate you supporting us, Rise and Thrive Together all the time. We really and truly appreciate it. We can't tell you how much. We absolutely do. And we want you to live the life that you are meant to live. Okay.
Yes.
So I want to just plug quickly because I often forget, and that is my bad. Oops. But our guest next week to wrap up October and this whole conversation on pruning is our a friend to the show. He is family now. We just need to get him his jacket, and that's an inside joke. Is Hal Eisenberg. He is the founder of the Eisenberg Leadership Academy, and those of you who've heard him before, you know Hal comes on this show and he drops some serious nuggets all the time. So we are super stoked to have him on the show to wrap up our conversation on pruning. Please be sure you join us next Monday as Hal is our special guest. We look forward to seeing him as well as you and join in the conversation. All right, can we do that? You guys are
Yes.
so amazing and so awesome. We thank you so much. And remember, together we can rise and thrive. Till next time.